Skitty! Yo, what up? It's your boy. I got a very, very, very special guest with me today, man. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself, bro.
All dating reviews coming to you guys live with Mr. Man in Action. We got a pretty good show for you guys today, and we're going to bring something a little bit different. You guys know what's going on in the manosphere right now, and you haven't heard anything like what you're going to hear today. So we just want to thank you guys for being with us.
Facts, facts. And if y'all are not familiar with all dating reviews, him, just like everybody else that I tell y'all that I put on my channel, if you see me on live stream with somebody, whether it's interviewing, collabing with them, they're the real deal. I don't necessarily work with people that I haven't watched myself. You know what I mean? So how long have you been on YouTube, bro?
So I've been on YouTube for years, and I've actually had other iterations of channels, but this one I kind of wanted to do it incognito just so I could get the message out. I feel like the message is more important than my face or anything else. So
Mhm.
I just started all the way from scratch. My other channel has had way more views, but that was more just kind of the channel that I use to kind of interact with people. This one here, straight message. So guys like you, people like you are the guys that I'm trying to attract to the channel because I'm trying to build guys from the ground up.
Facts, facts. So with this channel, would you say that it's more of like a review of the dating coaches that are already out, or are you leading it to where you can have your own message for people to understand?
So when I first made this particular channel, I really just wanted it to be straight review based off of every single channel that's out there. But I'm starting to evolve. So yes, it is still going to be reviews. However, I am going to insert a little bit of my knowledge as well, just to kind of give people a different contrast to what's out there right now.
Okay, for sure, for sure, and it's definitely necessary, man. So, how long would you say that you've been in the game and you have your knowledge of what you understand with the game? How long has it been for you?
Okay, so we're going to take it all the way back. I would say around 2007 is when I really got started. So I just want to give everybody who's listening a little bit of history because everything that you're seeing in the manosphere, and I talk about this in my videos, and you've seen some of my videos,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of what's out right now doesn't reference the source material. Everybody, for the most part, takes from everybody, and there's nothing inherently wrong about that. But when you lose the source material, everyone gets confused. So before the YouTube manosphere, there was the PUA community. And just
Hmm.
like you have like your 4 or 5 guys, like your MJ Get Rights and Steph is Cold and AMS, at the time, I'm gonna take it back for y'all. At the time, there was a guy by the name of David D'Angelo, Mystery, Carlos Zuma. A lot of people know about RSD, which he used to go by the name Tyler Durden. He was a student of Mystery.
Yeah.
PUA was the big thing. If you used to Google how to get a girl or how to get a date, all these PUA programs would come up. It all had ebooks. So it wasn't Patreon, it wasn't books, it was ebooks. And they would all
Facts.
charge like $97.99.
Hmm.
So I started to get familiar with these guys, all their websites. They had all the market share. But then you had a couple guys that were like dating coaches. So there's a guy by the name of Doc Love. He used to do these big articles on askmen.com. So I know I pick on some of these guys about who they get their source material from, but Coach Corey Wayne, he actually got a lot of his source material from Doc Love. And then he also got a little bit from David D'Angelo as well. So because I study the game since 2007, everyone that I watch on YouTube, I can tell you exactly where they get their source material from. So when I'm digesting it, I understand what's going on. But when
Facts.
you're teaching new guys that don't have any reference point, they're all just going to get confused, and that's what frustrates me. Because if I didn't know what I know, I wouldn't be able to agree or disagree with these guys. But these are young guys just getting into the game, and I think
Hmm.
it's harmful. And at the same time, you got to give your predecessors their credit. if you're taking something from somebody, give a shout out. Coach Corey
Right.
Lane in his book, he shouts out David D'Angelo. He shouts out Doc Love. That's one thing I wish a lot of these guys would do more of.
Facts. Facts. I agree, man. You can't never just dismiss the source. Because I know for me personally, what really got me introduced really to code approaching in general, and I always say it, like in my videos, I say it all the time. It was these guys, they did kind of like prank videos, but they were called Simple Pickup. You ever heard of them?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. See, that was what gave me the motivation to say, damn, you can literally just talk to any girl you want to. Of course, like being in high school and shit like that, you would talk to girls on some regular stuff. But when I was watching Simple Pickup, that's when I slowly but surely found people like Mystery and RSD and stuff like that. And now it's got to a point where you got all these guys giving all of these different methods just to get a woman. But Simple Pickup was like, no methods, nothing, just go talk to her. You know what I mean? Like I learned a lot of my game from prank videos. And so I think a lot of guys forget that it's really not as complicated as some of these guys make it seem. So what would you say with the whole choosing signal and code approach debate? Which one are you more towards?
So code approach, this is the thing because I am a student of this. So code approach was how I learned. Because remember, the only information that was out there when I started looking this stuff up was PUA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned about like openers, negs,
Yeah.
routines. Now the crazy thing is the PUA community was just like the YouTube community, but it was just on websites. They
Uh-huh.
had their beefs too. A lot of people don't know they had their beefs too. They was going at each other, taking shots at each other. But for the most part, because they were the only guys out, the amount of money these guys were making was even crazier than YouTube because there was only
Oh
like
yeah.
a few really good PUAs out there. And like, even if they were bashing each other, they were still getting their bread. But long story short, Code Approach was something that really helped me because I'm a social guy at heart. I've been in sales pretty much my whole life. But
Mm-hmm.
Doc Love, he actually taught me how to apply sales because that's what he goes off. He used to be a really successful car salesman, but I learned how to use my sales approach to dating. And once I started doing that with Code Approach, that's where I really got my experience and my foot in the game. And
Exactly.
there's a lot of black pill and red pill stuff coming out that really emphasize looks. And I know I'm jumping in kind of fast, but
Mm-hmm.
looks, I can tell you guys from experience, looks do play a role. However, everyone is going to have preferences. And even if you're good looking, you're not going to know your full potential unless you get out there and Code Approach. It's very
Boom.
important.
Boom. See, this is why I wanted to have you on this channel, man, because a lot of guys will say that I'm changing the red pill, I'm coming at it from a different angle. And I'm like, in reality, I'm just telling you guys what actually works. And the only way that I know that it works is because I actually do the shit. Like I'm currently out here with you guys. Because this is kind of to bring it to a different subject. Did you hear about that whole situation with Flight Reacts and shit like that with his baby mama?
Yeah, and let me just tell you this. My brother has dealt with this. People in my family have dealt with this.
Mm-hmm.
He's not lying. A lot of women are very manipulative like that, especially. And she was a pretty good looking girl from what I saw. The
Yeah.
good looking ones are the most. They're the worst because they have such huge egos. They're very narcissistic. So they
Mm-hmm.
believe that they can treat you any way they want to treat you with impunity. And for to an extent, that's true. And because they get that in their mind, and so many guys simple them and let them walk all over them, when they get a real dude like Flight Reacts, then that toxicity just takes over because they don't know how to react to being treated well. So then
Yeah.
when things go south, a kid gets into the mix and then they want to use the kid to manipulate that person. And it breaks my heart for him because I know what he's going through. And this is a dude with money. So
Yeah.
just imagine how bad it's going to be once the baby's born.
And see, the whole thing is how I look at it, because a lot of guys are asking me to do like a reaction video and stuff like that. But this is why I say this is how important it is to know game. This is why game basically beats everything, knowing how to truly interact with women. Because if you look at somebody like Flight, he has what most guys will say you need, which is looks, money, and status. Not saying he doesn't have game, But what I'm saying is, if he knew how to maneuver with his women properly, not to say this chick isn't crazy, I'm not defending her, but a lot of people don't understand that looks, money, and status. Flight has it, Dr. Dre, all these other people that's dealing with women issues, and they can still get fucked over. But a guy with game necessarily, in my opinion, wouldn't even let it get that far. You got to have a little.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly. And I agree with you 100%. And I'm going to go a step further. A guy like Flight Reacts, he would have known to weed her out once he already saw those toxic traits. He would have weeded her out before they even conceived a baby together.
Exactly.
So that's where game and perception and being able to do that stuff plays in at, because I think by the time he made his ascension, made his money and everything, he kind of skipped the part where, okay, now I'm getting girls, but he kind of skipped the part where he needed to learn how to maneuver and how to weed those type of girls out. Mm-hmm. So he would have never gotten to that situation, period, if he was on top of his game, because once you get to a certain level and you've truly seen it all, that's why code approach is important. But once you've truly seen it all, you know right away, even if a girl does look good, it's like, nah, I'm good. That's not what I want.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not too deep into the story, but from what I understand, he moved to LA, and within like the first 6 months, he was already like raw dogging this chick and shit like that. And for anybody who truly has game, what these dating coaches and these PUAs and all that stuff, they don't emphasize them much, which I think is very important, is to wear a fucking condom. You have to wrap it up. If you're getting laid, if you're truly getting results with women like you make it seem, wrap it up. I made a video about that a long time ago, and I think that's one of those things that gets swept under the rug. But I think a reason a lot of guys don't talk about it is because they're not dealing with women at the rate that they make it seem.
You're right. And the most important thing about that too, what makes it more important, if you're on a come up with women, you really have to be judicious about using protection, because you're going to end your game very short. Like, if you're just getting started, just getting your feet wet, why cut it short? Like, now you got a baby, now you got child support, now you got more drama, now you got girls that's not even going to want to mess with you once they know you got a kid. It's like you're just making it worse for yourself. And you might, you know what I'm saying? Yes, a lot of these diseases can be cured, but it's not a good look. Nobody likes going to the clinic, you know what I'm saying? And of course, you don't want to get something you can't get rid of. So these guys have to be smart.
Yeah. And then it ruins your life, man, because a lot of guys will be like, oh, that's beta to get married. Oh, that's beta to have a girlfriend. No, if you're truly an alpha, if you truly understand women and how to deal with them, nothing can be that if you're not that. You know what I mean? Like, guys be like, what do you think about marriage? I'm like, yeah, it's cool, because for me, for example, if I was to get married, it wouldn't be typical. Not to say that women can't fuck me over and all that shit, but it wouldn't be a typical marriage. So typical issues that a lot of people have when they're married, I would be avoiding that just by the woman that I pick. So Flight, he has to deal with this woman for the rest of his life, no matter where they are, no matter if they're together or whatever. It can literally ruin your life if you don't necessarily have the correct game and you don't know how to pretty much screen these women properly.
Yes, and I want to give a special message for guys that are like Flight Reacts, because my brother was a lot like him, and I say was. I don't want to get too personal, but I did lose my brother in March, and so I'm just gonna throw that out there. But what I want to say that really kind of touched me when I saw Flight Reacts, women like that, they're vultures for like guys who are just like free spirited and fun. Those type of women, if you're a free spirited type of dude who like doesn't like drama, who just likes to be cool, who is just a little bit more on, not even on the soft side, but if you're a little bit more on the like playful type guy and you're not like super masculine frame all the time, that's the worst type of chick you can get, because she's going to think she can take advantage of you. So you constantly have to step up, and it might get to the point where you throwing blows with the girl. That's not the type of girl you want. If you're a chill dude, you need to get yourself a chill girl. That way you can at least have a little bit of the leverage in terms of your presence with her. Because, I mean, yeah, you know, those crazy girls, they might be cool to sleep with, and they might know how to act for a little bit, especially when you're hitting it right. But those type of girls are the most volatile.
Facts. What's good, everybody in the chat? Y'all make sure y'all like the video. I see you, Kevin. I see you, Vincenzo95. What's good, bros? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Y'all make sure y'all check out my bro All Data Reviews channel. It's the very first channel in the description. Y'all make sure y'all click on that link. He got some really, really, really good content, man. And I'm glad I found your channel, bro, because you're on the same wave I'm on, and it's kind of like a breath of fresh air. So y'all make sure y'all check him out. Now, let me ask you this then, bro. With your experience with women, with you understanding game, with you pretty much being hip on what's going on, can you trust women?
Yes and no. I love that's a beautiful question you just asked. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I know what to expect, but at the same time, you still have to be cognizant of the fact that she is a woman and she's going to be led by her emotions.
Mm.
I've had many women tell me that they love me, and then the next minute they act like they don't even know me. I'm sure we've all went through that. It can switch on a dime. You could be with a woman that's like, she's massaging you. I had a girl like to massage my feet, doing whatever I want her to do. And then the next minute, when it's not the way she wants it to be, she could totally flip. It could be in that same week. So you have to be cognizant of a woman's emotions. And that's why you have to be centered yourself, because she's so volatile. If you go along switching your emotions to like react to her, it's going to really put you in a bad mental state. So when it comes to women, you have to always go by what their actions are, and you kind of have to play it accordingly. If you're in a long-term relationship, it's really important to have open communication, because women, when it comes to their actual words, you don't really want to listen to the words. You just want to be cognizant of how she's responding to you, and you just want to be on top of it. And you do want to listen to her, because there are little nuggets in there that will tell you exactly how to maintain the love or the attraction. But it's a very volatile thing. And that's why going back to what you said, game is important, because if you don't know how to maneuver, then you're not going to be able to maintain a relationship long term, because there is strategy involved. Love is war. In war, there's strategy. So you got to know how to handle and conduct yourself, or you're just going to have a lot of short-term relationships that just end up fizzling out, and you end up getting your emotions hurt.
Facts. I agree, bro. You know, shout out to Mario. That's one of the bros on the Patreon. Salute to you, bro. On the grind right now, tuning in with the earbuds. Cool cut, by the way. Appreciate that, brother. And I agree with you, man, because I feel like you can only trust them so much. You can trust them. My opinion is you can trust women to be women. You know what I mean? So whatever that means to you as a guy and your experience, you can trust her to do that. So if she's emotional, you can trust her to be emotional. If she's flip-floppy, you can trust her to do all these things that us as guys know women have the potential to do. Just like an animal. I'm not saying women are animal, but just like a pet snake. It's beautiful. It's a pet snake or whatever, but you can trust that if it needs to, it's going to bite a motherfucker. It's going to eat a mouse whole. It's going to do all the stuff that a snake does. That's not the best, you know what I'm saying? That's not the best contrast of women, but I think you guys are smart enough to understand what I mean. You know, you can trust them to be who they are, and don't be mad about it. Just pretty much accept it. It is what it is.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna jump in on that point, because that's why game is important. Because when these women act the way that they act, you have to know how to position yourself. Because if you know that you're going to get a certain reaction by dropping your guard, like emotionally, you might want to drop your guard, but mentally, if you know game and you know strategy, you know that that's never worked for you. You know that once you start dropping your guard, that's when things are going to go south. So even though you might feel like you want to open up and tell all your weaknesses and all this stuff, you got to keep some cards close to your chest, especially when you know it can flip on a dime. Because I've had situations where I might have revealed a vulnerability to a woman, and then the next minute she used it against me. You know what I'm saying? And we're sitting there, we pillow talking, feels like this is the best thing in the world, and then she uses it against me. So y'all have to be mindful of that if you don't play your cards close, it's going to give her ammunition to use against you. And women will do it.
Yeah, they they would definitely do it, bro. They would definitely do it. I had a situation like that happen very, very similar last night where I had told this chick, I told her one thing, you know what I mean? And it wasn't necessarily a lie, but it just wasn't the whole truth that she needed to know about me interacting with this other girl. And then, I was talking to a homie and I was basically telling him the full spiel on what me and this other girl did. And she was like, I thought you said da da da. And I'm like, yeah, so you listening too hard. So yeah, that's facts, bro. That's definitely fact. So do you think that all women need an alpha and a beta? Like, do you think they need two guys, one of them to play the alpha role and the other guy to play the beta role? And I'm just using these words for context. I really don't believe in these words as much as some guys paint it.
Here's the thing about alpha and beta male. See, the reason why we have this concept of alpha and beta and women needing all these different things, women and men, we're very parallel in the things, in the way that we go about things. Now, when we think about hypergamy, to a woman, there's many different facets. That's where the looks, money, status comes in.
Mm-hmm.
For us, our hypergamy pretty much stops and ends at how good a woman looks. We're hypergamous, but only
Right.
about looks. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So we might have like a 7 that's like down for us, that, you know what I'm saying, we can ghost her and just call her anytime and we can just head over there on a dry spell.
Yeah.
But we might, on the other hand, we got like an 8 or a 9 that we're still seeing. So we got different things for different purposes. The reason why the concept of an alpha and a beta exists is because so few men possess the qualities in one place that a woman is looking for.
Mm.
So women, because they're emotional beings, they have to find different things to fill those emotional spaces. Women are they're driven by money, they're driven by excitement. These are things not necessarily for the material possessions themselves, but the excitement it brings. A woman who loves high-end stuff, when she sees a nice pair of like Louboutins or, a Gucci bag, those activate endorphins in her brain. She gets high off of this stuff. It's not just
Right.
because, oh, it's a nice purse. It makes her feel a certain way. You see what I'm saying? So if you're
Yeah.
a guy who can provide those things, she might say, okay, this guy can buy me what I want. But also, a woman gets those same type of excitement chemicals when she's getting piped down real good. So it might be a
Mm-hmm.
dude she's messing with that may not be her typical alpha. He may not even be that good looking. But if he's her proximity, if he's the orbiter of the week, he just might get a shot. And if he's hitting it right, now she got a guy on the side that she's getting blasted out by, and she got a guy that's providing for her. You see what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? So
Yeah.
it's just because so many men don't possess those things in one place. So it's not so much about being an alpha or beta, it's being exactly what that woman needs. And that's where game comes in. Because if you learn that woman's love language, if you learn her dating style, you can pretty much mold your actions to manipulate those particular emotions. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So you don't necessarily have to always put on this face like, I'm super like masculine, blah, blah, blah. You just know exactly what she wants and how to give it to her. It's really that simple.
That's it. Yeah. And the funny thing is, if you guys if you guys would actually listen to them and don't, as you said earlier, don't take everything that they say for law. Take it as a grain of salt. But women they'll subtly tell you everything you need to know about them. They'll tell you everything that pushes their button.
Yes.
They'll literally lead you to their panties and to how to fuck them and shit like that. You know what I mean? Whether it's them talking about an ex, he was still an ex, so let's not ignore that. You know what I mean? That's what she actually likes,
Mm-hmm.
but she's just painting it to you like that's what she doesn't like. So just keep that in mind, man. You got to listen to women as well. When you guys are approaching, some of y'all may have y'all's approach already lined up on what you're going to say, and no matter what she responds to, this is what you're going to say next. No, bro, actually listen to her and you'll be able to vibe out and see what type of time this woman's on. And to give a more example of that, for some chicks, she may look a certain way, but when you talk to her, you can tell she's a little ratchet, she's a little low class, she's a little ghetto. You know what I mean? She's on the way to the liquor store. So you need to change your approach for that setting compared to a girl who's on the way to the library. This is where game comes in. This stuff matters. You have to know the different settings and have some type of substance to your approach. When I say substance, basically have some meat to your bones or your approach. Don't just give her the bones of the steak. You got to have some type of benefit to your approach that lets her know that you're genuinely interested in her and trying to get to see her again. Because I'm telling y'all, now women will give their number, they'll give their Snapchat, they'll give their Instagram to literally anybody. That's the smallest step. So just keep that in mind, guys. When going out and approaching women and stuff like that, do you prefer to go solo or are you usually with your friends?
Actually, I want to jump right back to that real quick, but I do want to say one thing too. When you're dealing with a woman who you find out to be toxic and you ask her about her exes and you find out that those are volatile relationships, if she ever says like, oh, he used to hit me, blah, 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 really take that to heart, because I actually wanted to do a video on Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, because that is a perfect example of there's always three sides to every story.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So if you're dealing with a toxic woman, you already know in order to be able to activate those chemicals in her brain, you're going to have to be a toxic dude. Is that what you want? You want to end up in jail? No. So when you identify a woman like that, that's where you can easily eject yourself from the situation. Now,
right.
going back to your question about, do I like to go out alone with dude? It just depends on the situation, because I have such a wide concept of game. For me, I know it just doesn't matter where I'm at.
Hmm.
And let me touch on purpose real quick, because when Coach Corey Wayne kind of when he made the template for purpose, the main thing about getting on your purpose is putting yourself into position to where the type of woman that you're attracted to will find you. So
Boom.
whether I'm with a group of guys or if I'm at the UPS store, wherever I'm at, I'm putting myself in position to where no matter if I see a woman that I'm attracted to, that's where code approach comes in. If I see a woman that I'm attracted to and I feel the vibe, I'm going to go for it. So
Mm,
it doesn't matter if I'm with a group of guys, it doesn't matter if I'm by myself. If the moment is set, I'm going to make my move and I'm going to use the game in my arsenal. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. But that's the point.
exactly. Exactly. And to actually go back to what you were saying with the Tory and Meg situation, as you said, if you're dealing with a woman, like I mean, come on, it's Megan Thee Stallion. I know Tory was probably hypnotized by the ass and all that shit, but in reality, she says it in her music. She carries herself as a ratchet ass bitch, basically. So you got to know that if
Exactly.
you're dealing with that type of chick, that's your fault. You know what I mean? Whether he shot her or not. Let's say he didn't. I really don't care if he did or didn't, but let's say that he didn't. To deal with a chick that would be willing to lie on you about something like that, you got to blame yourself for dealing with her and getting that close to her anyway. And let's say if you did, to be dealing with a chick that led you to a point to where you got to grab a gun and shoot her, that's still your fault. You know what I mean? You knew what type of chick you were dealing with
Exactly.
beforehand. You already knew you was fucking with a hot girl and all that other crap they be talking. So I do have a little sympathy for Tory in the sense of it's another brother with his whole career getting thrown down the drain, but that's about it. In reality, it's his fault whether he did it or not for fucking with a no good ratchet ass bitch. That's what comes with it. And I think that's why I say, like, when it comes to this looks, money, status, and all this crap, bro, game is gonna be all that. Game is gonna defeat all that because you see it countless amounts of times where guys have all that stuff that other guys will say you need to get women, and their situation will still be fucked up with women. Meanwhile, a guy who may not have all that, but with game he can receive all that, he doesn't have these type of issues. You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I look at that, bro. And as far as going out solo, can you touch on that for a minute? Because I feel like a lot of guys, that's their biggest fear is how to go out solo and meet women.
Got you. Am I still here? I cut out a few times. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you good, you good.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to going out solo, honestly, I think that's the perfect time to go out. And I say this because us as men, we're so in our minds, we're so much trying to construct the perfect scenario that we're always in a state of nervousness. We're always in a state of, oh my gosh, how am I going to react if? You don't need to worry so much about that. Being present is so important because when you're out alone, you don't have to worry about the pressure of rejection. Nobody's going to know but you and that chick, and you may never see that chick again in your life. So you're in the
Yeah,
best position to go and make your move and do what you got to do. A matter of fact, hey, you by yourself, you may as well experiment. You may as well go all out. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you wanted to try, you may as well go ahead and try it. But it
facts.
just really creates that sense, especially if you meet a girl by herself and y'all cross paths, now you have a more intimate connection. Now
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't have the pressure of coming off a certain way because, oh, somebody might be watching. You're going to get her in her natural element. So if you're in a coffee shop, say you're at a Starbucks, and okay, yeah, the workers are there, but you see a girl by herself. You know what I'm saying? She might be behind you. I picked up a girl behind me in line at a store before. It can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So say she's behind you, and like you notice her just standing there. You can just start like a regular conversation, like y'all waiting on your coffee. You know what I'm saying? Ask her how her day's going, where she's headed. It's really that simple, and then it just kind of grows from there. From that point, that's when you got to shoot a shot because you only have so much time. So, say for example, you find a commonality like y'all live near each other, y'all go to the same gym, whatever it is. Say, oh, you know what? You know what I'm saying? We don't really have much time. I really want to get to talk to you a little bit more. Here's my number, or you can ask for her number. But it does not have to be complicated. You will be surprised how effective being simple works when the situation is right.
Facts. You said a lot there. Shout out to Brando. I believe you're new to the channel. Make sure you subscribe, bro, and definitely make sure all y'all check out all dating reviews. That's the first channel in the description below. Y'all make sure y'all show him some love because y'all can hear it. He actually got it. You know what I mean? Y'all don't hear this stuff from everybody, but I can tell without without just a 30-minute conversation and watching his videos, this dude knows what he's talking about. And what you said on solo, that is so much facts. Like my boy Kevin said, I like going out solo. Me too, bro, because honestly, this is a term that I always use when I'm going out solo, and this worked for me like crazy. I always say, I'm about to turn nothing into something. That's what happens when you go out solo. It's so much easier to, let's say you go to a club, because I think that's guys' biggest fear, going out to a nightclub solo or just to the store in general. But let's just say the club. You could end up in the VIP, you could end up at the DJ booth, you could end up leaving with a group of girls. You can do so much stuff when you're solo that you wouldn't be able to do with your friend, because the problem when you go out with your friend, when you go out with your family member, you unconsciously feel like you're stuck to them. So let's say they run to the bathroom. Now you feel like you can't move until they come back from the bathroom. Now you feel like you can't talk to this girl because your boy doesn't want to talk to her friend. When you're solo, all of that shit goes out the window. And it could be as subtle as you getting rejected while you're with one of your friends. And now they're kind of laughing at you when they didn't even have the balls to approach. And now you don't want to approach at all anymore. Like you said, bro, when you go out solo, that's the best time to learn game. That's where majority of my game came from, because when I would go out with friends, they got all these excuses. Oh, she ain't choosing. Oh, I'm not here for girls. I'm not, and I get it. That shouldn't be the only reason that you go out in a sense. But then again, guys, y'all got to understand, when it comes to meeting women, when it comes to dating, approaching, this shit is a skill set. It's not nothing that's just going to pop up in your life. Women are not going to come to y'all like some of these guys are painting them to be. You have to know how to talk to women. You have to know how to approach. You have to know how to text nowadays. You have to know how to set up a phone call. You have to know how to set up a date. And when you're on a date, you have to know that that's a different vibe than when you approach her. The questions you ask when you approach compared to the questions you ask on the first date have to be different. You know, we touch on the approach because a lot of guys are stuck on that. But honestly, bro, the approach is such a beginner's level of the game. There's so much more to it. You know what I mean? You got to know how to properly do foreplay. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you guys need to know how to do, but it all starts with the approach. When guys talk about looks will
It all
get you in
does.
the
And let me double back real quick.
go
I
ahead.
want to double back real quick to approaching when you're with a group. So I want to make a distinguish. I want to distinguish something right quick. Make a distinction. When you are approaching with a group, I don't necessarily advocate going out with a group for the purpose of getting girls. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
say that because if, say, for example, you know what I'm saying, you and your boys just came from like a meeting or something and y'all out at a restaurant eating, if you're already with your boys, then it's different. You know what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
with
Because if
your
you
boys.
have
Yeah.
game and you already know how to approach girls, it's just going to happen because you're already out. And it's like, it doesn't matter that your friends are there. But
Mm-hmm.
the downside to going out with your friends for the sole purpose of getting girls is it can handicap you, just a lot like what you said, but it can handicap you in a worse way. Because, say, for example, if you got your day ones with you, but they're not on your level and you're a high value dude, girls will judge you off of your friends. You may miss an
Fact.
opportunity because a girl might think that your friends are dusty, And so
Facts.
therefore she don't want nothing to do with you because your
Hmm.
friends are going to be a part of her life too if it goes somewhere. Girls
Yeah.
really think off into the future. So you
Hmm.
want to give yourself the best chance. Even if you're with your friends, you want to ditch your friends like, hey, I'm about to go speak to this girl right quick. I'll be right back.
Boom.
You want to just leave your friends in the dust and do it by yourself, even if they're with you, because
Yeah.
you don't want any other factor outside of yourself to be your downfall.
Hmm. And funny enough, with some guys, they'll become enemies just because you know how to talk to girls and stuff like that. When they had to do is just come to you on some regular stuff, but they'll get a little envious of you or they'll feel pressure, and that's why I always say, because there are benefits, there are a lot of benefits. Let's say a girls with group, it gives you social proof, all of that good
It
stuff when you're
does.
with friends, especially if you're
It
with cool
does.
friends or whatever. But for the most part, especially for you guys that are trying to get better with game, at the end of the day, it's going to be you fucking the girl. So it's not going to be your friends cheering you on or nothing like that. So if you see a woman and you want to approach, know that it's going to have to be you talking to her. We got a
Exactly.
question up in here. What's this? Beauty Lee Code. Any advice on how to get back into the game after a drought? Like how would you start approaching girls, etc.? What you got on that, bro?
So first of all, when it comes to a drought, you have to evaluate your circumstances and why there's a drought. Like for example, we just got through like this huge pandemic. We're still going through it right now. If you're
Hmm.
in a drought because, for example, you used to have a certain job and maybe you got furloughed or you lost your job, but if you're in a drought because you had a job where you met women on the job and now that factor is taken out of the equation, then it's up to you to have the creativity to figure out how you're going to be able to bring that back into your life. So if you're in a position to where the workplace was where you used to game and you can't do that anymore for whatever reason, then that's when you need to go into your bag of purpose. That's when you need to figure out the things that you love to do to put you in that position. So if you like to hike, if matter of fact, you should really take up going to the gym. Say, for example, you go into the gym. Now you have a reason to go out. A lot of people, their only reason to go out is to go to work. That's what most people do. They go to work, they come home.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah.
have any other outside activities, you're going to have a drought. And that's the biggest problem with a lot of the guys that are looking up these dating coaches. They don't leave the house. You're stuck on Tinder. These are guys on a drought and they have Tinder and Bumble. You're
Mm,
swiping and you're still in a drought. You know why? Because
mm,
you're not getting out the house. The number one thing you have to do is get out. Learn
fact.
games so you can put yourself in situations to where when you see someone you want, you go for it. You go and get it. That's how you get out of a drought. Cold approach is very important. And not necessarily just cold approach, but just knowing how and knowing when to approach. So the number one thing I would say to you is just make sure that you're putting yourself out there. I know it's so simple, but put yourself out there physically.
Fact. Go ahead. Did you cut out? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I still hear you. That's all I got. What you got on that?
Okay, yeah, and my advice it's kind of just similar to what all dating reviews just said, bro. Like when it comes to a drought, I'm one of these people who I'm not big on excuses, especially when it comes to men. When it comes to a drought, bro, everybody goes through them, but only a few are going to be able to recover them. So keep in mind, a drought is, in a sense, it's part of the game. You know what I mean? I think everyone has experienced a drought, and just know that any low place doesn't last forever, just like any high place doesn't last forever. So know that you won't be in a drought forever, but big but you have to go out and start taking action now. You have to start talking to women now. You have to start doing your approaches today. That's what's going to be the first step. When you see a woman, you step to her and you talk to her. You know what I mean? That's what's going to get you back into the game, because you're thinking you're a drought. I mean, you're watching too much content, bro. A lot of guys on Tinder and Bumble, like you said, but they're not applying none of the stuff that they're learning. Check out prank videos. I always recommend them before I recommend any dating coach. Check out prank videos on guys doing hidden camera pranks and just watch it in the sense of how easy it is to talk to beautiful girls. They're not as scary as you think. They're just human beings. But the first step, and this will always be the first step, you got to get the fuck out of your house.
You got
Movie.
to. And I'm going to say this too, because in sales, you always, every once in a while, you're going to have a month where, like when I was selling cars, even though I was the top salesperson, I had a drought. So this is what you do. There are steady coaches that advocate that you don't delete a girl's number. I will say in this case, this is where it comes in handy. Now, the majority of the people that you have in your life, they're there because you've built a certain circle. So they're kind
Mm-hmm.
of there. But say, for example, they drop off. Just like if, for example, I wasn't selling cars that month, then I would go through my Rolodex of people who I almost sold, and then I would go back and start calling people. And then my sales would come back up, my contacts would come back up. So you
Boom.
go through those contacts of girls where maybe the conversation went dry and it wasn't like a ghost, but y'all both kind of just stopped talking. You just hit those girls up like, hey, what you doing? Like really just hit them up on some low-key stuff. And
That's
then
it.
that's how you slowly build it back up. And you might be able to convert one of those girls into something. And then now you got your groove back going. So in that case, I think it's okay to reach out to girls where it didn't work out because you're at ground zero anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
why not just reach back out, try to see if you can get a conversion out of that, at least to get your confidence back, at least to get you back in the game just a little bit.
Man, that is top tier advice. I actually made a video on that very recently saying that as a guy, we got to have some type of persistence to us. And this is what guys don't understand. They always try to paint themselves like they're so busy. A guy who's truly busy doesn't have time to waste. A guy who's truly busy has some type of persistence to him. So let's say like with you selling cars, when you get a lead, I'm pretty sure you're going to follow up on that lead, and you may follow up on that lead multiple times, even if it's not coming in as soon. That's the same with women because you're busy. You're trying to make sales, but you're also not trying to leave these leads out. That's the same with these women, guys. When it comes to a job application, when you put the application in, you need to be calling, checking in on the application. You need to be popping in. You need to try to talk to the manager right when you turn in your application, if you're turning in a paper application or whatever. You guys have to have some type of persistence to you because guys that are truly busy don't have time to waste. When I meet a woman, I know a lot of guys will say wait like 2 or 3 weeks. Damn that, you know what I mean? Like I can
Nope.
end up smashing her way before those 2 or 3 weeks, just doing what actually works, which is having some type of sense of urgency. It's a difference between,
Yes.
it's a difference between being like thirsty, stocky, like let's say the full text message page is just your messages. Now you're talking to yourself at that point. But for the most part, with anybody, with sales, with jobs, with women, if they see some type of urgency to you, that's when they know you're serious. Some of you guys are just doing this just to say you're doing it. I want you guys to get results. And I'm telling y'all, you have to have some type of pursuit to you to get results. So,
Man, I gotta add to that because yes, that is absolutely correct. You do have to have. I love that word you use because we use it in sales all the time. You have to have a sense of urgency. That doesn't mean, be thirsty, but that means you have to be a man in action. To pun your
mhm.
name, you got to be a man in action because what's going to happen is certain girls. A lot of the reason why girls are like so short in conversation and things like that is because they really want you to take the lead. They don't want to
Right.
have to put any effort in. But if you put just enough effort in, if she's interested in you, you're going to convert that girl. So you have to work on it. And that's one of the things that I learned from PUA. There's a lot of PUAs back in the day that would tell you, hey, even if you get like a light rejection, but a girl is still talking to you, they say plow forward. You keep plowing forward. I got a
Mhm.
lot of conversions just by taking my fear of rejection out of it and just plowing forward and trying to get that date. And it has worked. It's worked for me. So
Yeah.
that's an important component as well. Sometimes you got to know when to plow forward. If you're still getting some type of communication from a girl, that's your opportunity to convert it. Anytime you waste trying to get into like, you know, small talk and small conversation, that's when you mess up your chances. You never mess up your chances by trying to get the result that you're looking for. You only mess up your chances when you go in there BSing. So if you got
Yeah.
a girl's
Yeah.
number and you BSing with her, you're messing yourself up. But you
Mhm.
also have to put in the effort because they're not going to do it for you. So all these guys that are saying like, oh yeah, wait 2 weeks to talk to a girl. If a girl's really interested in you, I've had girls that I've called and texted that same day because I saw the interest was there. Not
Facts.
every girl is going to be super manipulative just because you show interest in that girl. There's some
Exactly.
girls where you wait 2, 3 weeks, they will especially if you mess with a baddie, they will forget about you and they won't respond, not because they don't like you, because they genuinely don't remember you. So you got to
Boom.
take action.
Yeah. Got to. Moving on. It looks like Static Shot O or AOP. Shout out to you, bro. He said, "Would you ever do long distance with a girl?" What do you think on that?
Whoo, I got to jump in on this one.
Go ahead.
Real quick, when it comes to long distance, it's a double-edged sword. Here's the thing, because I've done long distance before, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Each and every time I've done it, I have been cheated on, and miraculously, I found out. Here's the thing, especially and the girl I was messing with. Matter of fact, this was the girl that led me to actually find Coach Corey Wayne. She broke
Mm,
my heart real bad, but long story short, my message on that, if you're going to mess with a girl long distance, make sure you have the resources to do it because technology is not going to be enough. Even if the girl that broke my heart initially that got me into this whole thing, this is a girl, I was Skyping her every single day. Sometimes we would fall asleep on Skype together. I literally didn't even know how she found the time to cheat on me, but she was
mhm.
doing it.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. The point is, you got to make sure you have the resources so that you guys can actually see each other on a very consistent basis. It's something where that's the only way I advocate it. If you have the resources to see this person on a regular basis, because they never, in my experience and in my empirical observation, long distance relationships eventually fail. Now, if you're in a long distance relationship to where you feel like it may go somewhere, that's where y'all have to get together and figure out either you're going to move to where she is or she's going to move to where you are. But it's no point in keeping a perpetual long distance relationship. There's no point in that. At that point, you're
Yeah.
just a glorified pen pal. So if you're
Hmm.
just going to be pen pals forever, I don't recommend it. But if you got plans to move where she is or she has plans to move where you are, that's perfect. Just make sure you have the resources to keep that fire going in person.
Yeah. And he also added to that. He said, "I'm falling for this girl and about to leave for the Air Force. I'm not sure if
Don't
he's
do it.
about to leave." Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why, and let me tell you this. And I'm sorry to cut you off,
No, go
MIA,
ahead.
but
Yeah,
this
you
is real
good.
important because I got a lot of dudes that are in the military right now. This is
Mm,
important. One thing that a lot of guys do when they find somebody in the Air Force, there's a lot of benefits to getting married. These guys get married right away, and it always ends up failing. Like the military will sell you on getting married, all these benefits. It's going to screw you up because what's going to happen is with that type of distance, even if a girl loves you, it's unfair to her to do that because you know you're going to be gone for long stretches of time. And in those type of situations, it puts her in a situation where if she's going off of her emotions and she wants to feel close and needed and all this stuff, she's going to cheat on you 9 times out of 10. It has happened. I got a boy that's in the Navy right now who's married and he got a chick on the side. You're going to end up doing the same thing. So why not just be single and put yourself in a situation where you're going to be traveling all around the world? Use your game and get girls all around the world until you get settled and out of the military.
that's
Don't be
it.
rushing to get into a relationship, dude. That's the dumbest thing you can do if you're
Yeah.
going to the armed forces. Be on your purpose, serve our country. I thank you for your service. Don't
Hmm.
even think about that because you're going to meet baddies all across the world, man. Do not get tied down. This is not the time to do it. It's not fair to her and it's not fair to you.
Facts. Yeah. That, see, funny enough, before I went to college, like right after high school, I just spent time in the streets, just doing other stuff. It took me about 3.5 to 4 years to actually go to college. But in that time, I did have a girlfriend. I ended up breaking up with her the second day I moved to college because I knew who I was and I knew the pressure. And she was only like 2 hours away type shit. But I just knew I wasn't finna cheat on her. I'm just not feeling that. You know what I mean? Because I don't. It's just too much work to be lying and cheating and doing all that shit. I broke up with her and I told, and we're still cool to this day. But I told her like, hey, I just don't want to cheat on you, so we're gonna have to end this. You know what I mean? And she wasn't okay with it, but over time we got cool with it. So I'll tell you guys like this, man. When it comes to the long distance stuff, be fair. First of all, be fair about it. Don't just think about yourself. Don't just think about all the chicks that you can smash. And also look at reality. You know what I mean? Like that's just like when guys talk about Tinder, Bumble, text. They have not made a way for you guys to have sex with women over your phone yet. When they make that way, then us dating coaches may try to give you strategies and shit on how to do that. But until then, sex and human to human contact is still the only way to genuinely do stuff with your girl. And I know that's a
That's
part of your
facts.
relationship. So if they haven't made that happen yet, bro, and you know that's what you're going to want to do, and as women, they're going to want to do it as well, save yourself that pressure, save yourself your time, and avoid those long distance relationships. That doesn't mean that you have to cut her off. Doesn't mean that y'all have to like be enemies or whatever. But don't go outside, especially if you're going to the Air Force, bro. Because I got friends in the Air Force as well. And although they may have girls back at home, and I even know some women that's in the military, people in the military do a whole lot of fucking. I'm telling you that now, bro. It's
That is
one of the
facts.
homies on the Patreon that went off to the army. He was like, man, I'm finna use all this game and fuck all these chicks. And then a thing that they do is they don't ever fuck with the people on their home base. But when they get transferred to other base, it's all, you know, and then they're in different cities, they're in different states. Imagine being a guy who has a little bit of game and you're in the military, you're gonna fuck chicks all the time anyway. So just avoid that headache, bro, because this is the thing I want to touch on when it comes to lying and cheating on somebody, especially a girl that you care for, as your girlfriend or whatever. It's deeper than her. In a sense, damn her. You're going to be lying to your sergeant. You're going to start lying to your parents. You're going to start lying to your friends. You're going to lie to everybody if you build the habit of being a liar. So if you don't want to be with this girl or you don't think it's the smart move because you may be cheating on her, avoid that now for your self-worth. Like I said, damn her for a minute. Don't become a liar, bro. It's just not beneficial. Then you'll start emailing me lying about shit, and I don't even know you like that. So yeah, I wouldn't do it, bro. I would not do that. You had about what, like 10 more minutes, bro?
Yeah, I was trying to read this question. What's our boy talking about? Social circle game. Oh, okay. I'm gonna jump on this real quick. So social circle game is different than code approach, and it's actually better. I'm gonna tell you why. So the biggest difference is cold approach is you're approaching a girl you don't know. If you're going in cold. Warm is when you know somebody.
Yep.
So social circle is in a sense warm approach. When you're dealing with somebody in social circle, you're going to have more opportunities to be able to show your value and to be able to interact with that particular girl. And there's benefits to that because if you know somebody through social circle, your value is already going to be built in. You're already going to have social proof because you guys have the same circle of people that you know. So when you talk to a girl that you know through social circle, especially if you're just approaching her out the blue, if she knows that you guys know the same people, she's already going to feel a level of comfort. Her defenses are going to be down. So if she's already attracted to you, it's going to be game on from there. And I'll say this as well. If you're talking to a girl through social circle game where you talk to her a little bit, but like things kind of fell off, like I said, you're going to see her and have more opportunities. So over time, the familiarity alone will give you a chance to represent yourself. And I say that because I've had so many situations where I've had a girl, I've had this, it doesn't always happen, but I've had a girl that I knew through social circle where years ago, we had something going on, and it took us about 8 years later to reunite. But my game was so strong, I was like a different person to her, and I was able to make it pop just like that. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, that's facts. And you're saying you're going to college, so how does social circle differ from code approach? Well, I'll tell you like this, bro. Social circle is like one of the most important things in college because college is a mini Hollywood, you know. So people aren't going to necessarily know you for your name. They're going to know you for what you do. They're going to know you for who you hang out with. So if you're on the football team, they're going to be like, hey, there's that guy. They'll be like, you know, John. And they're like, who is John? They're like, oh, he's the quarterback. You know what I mean? He's the wide receiver. That's how they describe you in college. But one thing that you do want to be careful with when you go to college, don't depend on your social circle. I would see so many people do this when they're freshmen going into orientation. Whoever they met on the first day of school, that's who they stuck with. And now their whole 4 years of college, when they could have had all these opportunities to meet all these other people, to talk to all these other people, to fuck all these other chicks, they were stuck on that. So be a social person and use social circle game to your benefit, but it all starts with the code approach. So I hope that didn't go past your head, but you have to have every single piece of it and understand that in college, your social status does matter. It's not everything, but it matters. You need to try to build a pretty good reputation. Don't try to, you know, I mean, I made this mistake myself when I was smashing these chicks without knowing who they are, not knowing what sorority they're in, not knowing if they're on the volleyball team, not knowing if they're a cheerleader. And then I would go try to fuck one of their teammates. So definitely, take some time out to get to know these women in college, get to know what they're in, what they do, but use being a social person to your benefit, because then the circles will start to come to you. Like, I was cool with the drug dealers and could also be cool with the weed heads, could also be cool with the student president, could also be cool with the nerds. You know what I mean? Like, people in the band. So learn to just be that social person in college, and literally by like the second month, if you start off like that, you'll have chicks throwing themselves at you, all type of people, even guys trying to hang out with you because you're that social person.
Exactly. And I'm going to add to that too, because when you're in college, what I suggest is the only person you should be like close with is whoever your dorm mate is. You want to be social, but you want to still keep your cards close to your chest. So you almost have like a persona. So when you're out there getting to know everybody, you're living your purpose, you're involved with sports or clubs that are of interest to you, every person you meet, it has to have a purpose. You have to be strategic about the people that you spend your time with, because these people will either raise or lower your status. Even your casual relationships around college, those will all pay off. But you got to know how to connect with the right people. And just by those associations, cold approach is going to become so much easier, because people are going to be familiar with who you are through like 10 other people. So just by someone hearing what your name is, a girl hearing what your name is, kind of like what you alluded to, they're like, oh, aren't you such and such and such? Bam. This is a girl you don't even know, but she's heard good things about you. And then there it is. And then it just becomes so much easier. So just like MIA said, you don't want to get yourself stuck through the first person, and the same thing with women. Don't get yourself stuck with the first chick that looks cute that you meet. You know what I'm saying? She might be cool, but you want to go out there and you want to build your experience. You want to meet different women. And that's where game comes in, because you want to be able to be honest with her and just tell her like, hey, you know what? I'm just kind of dating right now. We're in college. Let's just kind of do what we do. You see who you want to see. Let me see who I want to see. But let's kind of keep it like that. And that's how you stop crazy situations from happening. And you have the mutual respect. So even if you are messing with somebody she may know, it's not going to blow over as bad, because y'all already built that respect level.
And also, when you are dealing with these chicks, shut the fuck up. I would see so many guys that could be smashing so many other girls in college, but because they hit one and they want to let everybody know, or if they see her out, they want to point to their friends, like, you see that girl right there? Yeah, she got a fat ass. When you do all that, bro, you're ruining your game. You're destroying it. Even if you think you're talking to some of your friends, because they may know her friends. And then once the word gets out there that you talk too much, these chicks in college wouldn't want to be freaky with you. Women in general don't want to be freaky with a guy who tells it all. So make sure you have some type of hush mode to you. That don't mean you have to act like you don't know the chick, but you also want to have a hush mode. And just to say one more thing on that, be that social person that doesn't need a social circle, but everybody still knows you. So basically what I'm saying is, I knew so many people at my college that I didn't have to go to the cafeteria with nobody, because once I got in the cafeteria, I know I'm going to know somebody in there. I have the choice to sit with whoever I wanted to. Same with parties in college. I didn't have to go to freaking college parties, do a pregame with everybody and turn up with them and then go in with a certain fraternity or whatever. I could go in because I know that it's my school's event, it's at my school or whatever. I know I'm going to see people that I know. So I get to choose who I want to kick it with, and I don't have to feel stuck with them. I can vibe out with the homies that's in the Kappas. Next thing you know, I'm chilling over here with the Q Dogs. Next thing you know, I'm in the DJ booth. Next thing you know, I'm getting twerked on by you know what I mean? Like, you got to be able to not depend on anybody when it comes to game.
But you know what? I'm going to even take it a step further. I'm going to close it out, but I'm going to take it a step further. Matter of fact, when you're in college, it's actually better to learn your game so that you can meet women off campus. You want to make it to where you bringing baddies to the campus. You know what I'm saying? That's going to raise your value to the point to where now you don't even got to spit to none of the girls on campus, because they already know you the man, and it's going to be even easier to get them. So preferably, you want to meet girls off campus, because it's like you're going to college, but you're not in jail. Those aren't the only chicks you can smash. You're still living you live in a free world. You know what I'm saying? If you got a car, you got transportation, you know where the spots are. You're out there meeting girls in everyday life to where you don't have to depend on girls in college. And it's really going to make it easy for you.
For real. It's always a Walmart near campus. And I'm telling you, you can turn something into nothing in that motherfucker. Or turn nothing into something. But shout out to my boy Kevin. He's on the Patreon. He's on the channel membership. This is one of the man in action for show. And he got them receipts. He popped up with something in the group chat today. Got a bad thing he going out with tonight. He says, question, why do you think it is when you tell men what to do to fix their situation with women, they don't do it? What you think on that?
Why do you tell me to fix it? I think I want to make sure I understand. Tell me if you understand this too. You think he's saying like when you try to give your boy advice and they don't take it? Is that what it's pretty much saying?
Yeah. Basically, like, guys, they'll blame the women, like, oh, she's a bitch or whatever. It's like, bro, maybe you just came at her the wrong way, or maybe you should say this or try this, and then they just like, nah, that don't work. I think it's
really simple. It's because it's twofold. For one, they don't have game, and for two, they picked the wrong woman. One of the main problems with the guys who are following these dating coaches is that they don't pick the right women. So many guys, they're either picking women that are below what they really want, or they're just getting entangled with women, the first girl that like meets their physical requirements. And that's when you end up in these situations.
Oh shit! It sound like you cut out right when you said situations. Can you hear me?
Bad. Second, but it's just going to be all bad if you don't properly vet these women and get to know who they are and if they even match up with your values. Then you're going to be in for a world of trouble trying to fix problems. Relationships, contrary to what they tell you, relationships should be fairly easy. And they can be easy if you really get to know the person that you're with. If you are going to go down the route of being with somebody because you find them attractive or because they're just there, then you have to learn to be able to make it a casual situation, which is hard. When you have sex with somebody, you are, this is going to sound soft, but you become one with that person. So there's a myriad of different issues that you deal with when you're sleeping with different women. And that's why you need to become a high value man, because once you become high value, you're going to be more selective. Just because you have the ability to be able to sleep with different women, you're not going to take it at every single chance. And that's what separates a low value guy that's just trying to bang every chick. That's when you become the guy that women are going after. So you really have to get yourself to that point. And again, it comes to not having game and picking the wrong woman, because you can't fit, a square peg into a round hole. It's just not going to happen. So with your boy, whatever happens, their relationship's just going to have to dissolve, because obviously he ain't trying to listen. And obviously, she's acting up on him. He don't know what to do. He's just going to have to learn for himself.
Yeah. And that's the thing about man, bro. Like the ego is gonna be a lot of guys' downfall. Really, people in general, but definitely men, because they'll stick to an identity. They'll stick to an ego. Oh, well, I was the man in high school. How you gonna tell me you didn't do this and that? It's like, bro, when someone, and of course, it all depends on how you come at them as well, on how you're giving them the advice. If you giving it to them in a sense of like, if you're not doing it in a way that seems like it's genuine, then they could not want to take it. Or if you're not, this is why when I give advice, this is the beautiful thing about my channel, is that
practice what you preach.
Yes, exactly. Like I show you guys. So it's a little iffy when you're hearing it, but then the same person, like someone's 400 pounds and they're saying, hey man, you shouldn't eat that. It's a lot of calories. It's like, bro, how you gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying? Like that makes no sense. So definitely, and I know Kevin, like man, that man Kevin, he be having me want to hit him up for some advice sometimes, because he got some bad ones. But the thing is, bro, like some guys just ain't gonna get it. You know what I mean? And nothing, you can't self-motivate anybody else. This is why I continue to crank out this content. This is why I continue to motivate you guys. I tell you to approach. I tell you the shit works. I tell you hit the field. I tell you talk to multiple women per day. I tell you to have some substance to your approach. I tell you that the approach is just the start. It's so much more to the game that I would love to tell y'all about. But if y'all are still on the approach, I'll continue to talk about the approach. But some guys just ain't gonna get it. They're gonna learn the hard way. People in general are gonna do whatever they want to do. So just have good intentions when you're trying to help them out. Hey, recommend them All Dating Reviews channel. Tell them to check out Mr. Man in Action. And maybe that might give them the extra boost that they need. But more than anything, bro, some guys just ain't gonna get it. Some guys are just gonna be doomed when it comes to that situation. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. And let me go ahead and close this out for y'all real quick. I would just want to really thank you, Mr. Man in Action. Hopefully we get to do this again. It's
Oh yeah,
unfortunate I have to go, but we can go on for hours. So I definitely want to
for
do this
sure.
again. But I want you guys to go out there, subscribe to All Dating Reviews. And I really just want to drive this home, guys. When you're listening to these dating coaches out here, you really have to take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of these men are guys who have learned from other guys, and they've learned how to apply the principles, but they're not teaching you the source material. And you're going to continue to be lost if you're watching video after video. You might get a little bit of success here, but it's not going to be consistent. So you want to be very mindful of the guys that you listen to, and you want to be able to find the source material to match it. So if you're going to be listening to, example, AMS, I highly recommend your supporting material is going to be Coach Corey Wayne, and it's also going to be Alan Roger Curry, because that's where he gets a lot of his information from. So if you listen to
Mm.
something from him, go to watch those guys, go check out their books, because that's really going to help you to bring it full circle. Not every guy's advanced like myself or Mr. Man in Action. Not every guy's going to be able to listen and actually be able to get these concepts. Some of these guys, some of y'all have to learn from the ground up. So get out there, learn, put yourself out there, leave the house, do cold approach, do what you got to do to make it happen for you. When you're out there on the dating field, again, I said it earlier, love is war. You're also a salesperson. So you're out there trying to get the sale all day long. So that's what I got to say to you guys. Once again, thank you, Mr. Man in Action, and you guys follow All Dating Reviews.
Facts, facts. Appreciate you, man. Remember, guys, if you do nothing, nothing will happen. So go ahead and take action now. Peace.